Welcome to the Crimson Engine. My name is Rubidium. The internet has been a flurry this week with all the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K release news. And today I want to talk about, is the 6K camera the C200B camera that we've been waiting for? I have tried a lot of B cameras for the C200 to try and match the kind of optical quality and raw 12-bit that the C200 gives. And I really haven't had a lot of success. My 5D Mark III MPEG-4 is just, I won't say garbage because it's a good camera, but it is a long way below the C200. So is the EOS R. Even in the external 12-bit, external 10-bit, because you crop in on the sensor so much, it really doesn't really deliver the depth of colors, and it can't shoot raw. The closest that I've got, and the one that I'm using right now, is the 5D Mark III Shooting Magic Lantern, which at least gives you 14-bit raw, but it has a whole bunch of other workarounds which aren't ideal. For a B camera, you just want to be able to, have a second angle, grab that footage, throw it into your edit, and be able to have, that extra shot that gets you around that awkward cut or lets you cut out something that you didn't want in there. Beat camera footage is invaluable, but it needs to be somewhat easy to use and essentially take care of itself. The 5D Mark III Shooting Magic Lantern doesn't. It doesn't have autofocus. It doesn't have, it's quite a long pathway to get that 14-bit RAW off the card. It's only 1080p, which isn't the biggest problem for me. And it's full frame, which is nice. But like I said, it's so much more work than the A camera that I end up not really setting it up and using it that much. So I did look at the Blackmagic Cinema Pocket 4K as a B camera, especially with the price of like $1,200, $1,300. And I just found that the autofocus wasn't really there. I didn't like that I had to use I didn't like the sensor size or the mount. I don't want to go out and buy a whole nother range of lenses. All my glasses EF. Speed boosters are great. They can save you in a pinch, but not only do they add, $700, $800 to your price tag, they just add a level of distortion, softness that I personally don't like. I would rather use a nice sharp prime or zoom lens and have that sharpness translate directly into the image and not have to send it through another piece of glass. My experience with the Metabones anyway is that it made a $5,000 lens look like a $500 lens and a $500 lens look like a $50 lens. So you put the Canon Cine primes on it, and it looks like this lens here, the $500 f1.2. I'm excited that the Pocket 6K has a EF mount and a Super 35 sensor. It's actually not as big as the C200 sensor. If you see this chart, it's kind of halfway between a Super 35 or the Ursa Mini and the Micro Four Thirds. But what it lacks in size, it makes up for in resolution. And you'll be able to punch in on these massive 6K files if you want to shoot for the full frame of the camera and get something that you want. The big question for me before I buy this camera is, what will the autofocus be like? Will it be continuous? Will it be face recognizing? Will it be sharp? I think what Blackmagic are going to do is announce it has autofocus and then see by the time the camera's released whether or not their firmware works, or maybe they release something in the future. I would probably, in the way that I shoot, like especially for these videos, if I could have a second camera like over here that still tracked my face as I move in and out like the C200 does, and shoot on a low f-stop like f2 or f1.8, that would be an absolute savior for me. If it can't do that, maybe the search continues. The thing that I really like about the Pocket 6K is that it shoots internal RAW and it's sub $3,000. So really, Blackmagic has thrown down the gauntlet to the other camera manufacturers to say, hey, look, we're going to give people what they want. We're going to go to the next level, shoot RAW, small form factor, with an EF mount and a decent sized sensor, unlike Micro Four Thirds, which, at least for my uses, I struggle with. And hopefully, Canon and other manufacturers are watching, and we'll start to see the kind of arms race of sensors and cameras take up the challenge and release more like this. Well, to sum up, I definitely think that the image quality of the pocket camera, both 4K and 6K, do very well with the C200 as a B camera because of the RAW. They're so malleable, you can sharpen them in the same way, you can color grade them in the same way. But for me, it will all come down to whether or not the autofocus is usable, whether it's some kind of continuousness, or whether I can do it remotely, and we'll go from there. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Hopefully that was illuminating for someone out there, and I will see you next time.